My SEL tried to replace me and steal my husband. Her fantasy shattered the second my mom revealed something she never expected. My brother Kyle had been dating this woman Rachel for about 3 months when she came to her first family dinner at our parents' house. Everything seemed normal at first. She brought flowers for my mom and complimented my dad's cooking. Then when introductions came around to my husband Dean and me, she shook my hand and said, "So nice to meet Dean's current wife. I'm Rachel, his future." I thought I misheard her. Dean laughed awkwardly, thinking it was some weird joke. But Rachel kept going, looking directly at Dean and saying, "Kyle's told me so much about you. I can see why he says we're perfect for each other." Kyle looked confused and said he'd never said that. But Rachel just smiled and touched Dean's arm, saying, "Men never remember important conversations." Throughout dinner, Rachel kept positioning herself to serve Dean food first, even though he was sitting across the table from her. She'd lean over everyone to put food on his plate, saying things like, "Dean needs protein, he works so hard," or, "Dean doesn't like too much sauce, right, honey?" She'd never met him before that night. She knew nothing about him, but she acted like she'd been studying him for years. Every story anyone told, Rachel would redirect to Dean. My mom talked about her garden. Rachel asked Dean if he liked gardening because she loved men who worked with their hands. My dad mentioned his retirement. Rachel asked Dean about his retirement plans because she needed to know for their future. When I tried to join any conversation with my own husband, she'd talk over me and say things like, "Dean and I were just discussing that earlier," which was impossible because they'd literally just met an hour ago. Kyle kept trying to redirect her attention, but she'd pat his hand and say, "Your brother and I are just getting to know each other better." Family bonds are so important. The next few weeks were insane. Rachel started showing up at places Dean went. She joined his gym and would happen to be there whenever he worked out. She found out where he got coffee and would accidentally run into him every morning. She learned his lunch spot and would eat there alone, always sitting where she could watch him. She told Kyle she was just trying to bond with his family, but she never tried to run into me or my parents, only Dean. She started texting Dean constantly, getting his number from Kyle's phone. The texts started normal, asking about family stuff, but quickly got weird. She'd send him good morning messages before I even woke up. She'd text him reminders to eat lunch and stay hydrated. She'd send him articles about things she thought he'd like, even though she had no idea what he actually liked. When Dean blocked her number, she got new ones. She had at least 6 different phone numbers that we know of. Rachel would tell Kyle that Dean was texting her first, that he was pursuing her, that she was trying to be loyal but Dean wouldn't leave her alone. Kyle believed her at first because why would his girlfriend of 3 months make something so crazy up? She'd cry and say she didn't want to break up the family, but Dean was making it impossible. She actually convinced Kyle to confront Dean about bothering his girlfriend. That fight was unbelievable, with Kyle accusing Dean of trying to steal his girlfriend, and Dean showing him all the blocked numbers and psycho texts. The real explosion happened at my dad's birthday party. Rachel had convinced Kyle she needed to come despite everything, because family was important, and she wanted to show there were no hard feelings. She arrived in a dress identical to my wedding dress, which she'd somehow found photos of online. She'd styled her hair